We know that resume gaps and lack of experience are common hurdles for military spouses. That's why today we are sharing our top hacks to get you #hired at Intuit in a 100% remote, legit career with TurboTax Live or QuickBooks Live. Let's hear those insider tips for qualifying for these remote careers at Intuit right now.
Virtual employment is here to stay. I'm military spouse, VirtForce founder, and your remote work expert, Kimber Hill. Subscribe now to learn how you too can thrive in the virtual workforce.
So we get asked all the time, how do I overcome resume gaps? Rachel, can you tell us about your resume gaps and the hack you used to overcome them to get #hired at Intuit?
Absolutely. Okay, so my story was I was active duty and reserves for 10 years in the Navy. But at some point we were dual military, and I think we were at like 2 or 3 kids at the time. And I realized I need to move to reserves. So basically, long story short, 5 kids, something like more than 10 years. I think it was more than 10 years of nothing on my resume. And that's the first hack, is maybe do something besides just take care of kids if that's an option. Volunteer, find something in a field that you want to eventually be in. Because I wasn't, thinking that far ahead. But I did use my GI benefits. I got a master's in accounting. I had no idea what to get. I honestly was just kind of doing an eeny, miny, mo. I had an oceanography degree, which you cannot do anything with. Don't know why. Obviously the theme here is I didn't really think through things, right? But I got the master's in accounting. I liked math. I just figured, hey, that'll work. And then the other thing I did was I volunteered. So once the last kid went into school, I looked into, well, what could I do? I didn't really like H&R Block. They didn't pay very well. I even looked at Jackson Hewitt. I just didn't, it was a lot of hours. It wasn't going to work. So volunteer income tax assistance program with the government. That's where I started. I learned how to do taxes there. And then eventually I actually worked also with another swim mom. I found out she was a CPA, and I'm like, hey, can I just watch you do taxes and get some experience? And she was great. So honestly, it's about advocating for yourself, right? You've got a network, you've got friends, talk to people, find out what you can do, what you want to do. But that was the big stuff that I did.
That's amazing. So we've got our first hack. Our hurdle, you hear work experience must be paid. The hack, if you don't have paid experience, you can volunteer. Check with your school PTA, check with your church, your family. VITA, the insider tip, list all pertinent volunteer experience in full detail on your resume. We have an episode on the VirtForce podcast where Rachel actually talks about volunteering. Episode 96, how to get 1 year of tax prep experience. And that link is going into the chat now. Thank you so much for sharing, Rachel. James, tell us what you love about working for Intuit.
Based on my experience, I think that the steadiness of the job. We know there's going to be taxes every year. So
it's true.
So we know the opportunities are going to be there. But for me personally, it was the remote aspect that really captured my eye, because in my previous work life, I was traveling, trying not to miss connected flights, arriving in a certain area and driving to remote places. And I love just to be able to get up, come in, turn my computer on, and I'm at work.
Right. That 3-minute walk.
3-minute
so
walk.
Nice. So what about TurboTax Live roles? What TurboTax Live roles are you recruiting for right now?
Right now, we're recruiting for 3 positions. One is the tax prep assistant position, which is primarily a virtual online customer service role, but there have been changes to the requirements. You do have to have at least one year of paid experience. The other two are the tax advisor positions. So there's tax associate, the other is tax expert. And all for those two, you must have at least 3 years of, or 3 seasons of paid tax prep experience, preparing at least 30 returns per tax season. The only difference between the two is for the tax expert role, in addition, you must be credentialed, and that means you either have to be a CPA, an enrolled agent, or a practicing attorney.
Those roles really seem like they cover a whole spectrum of experience levels. What free training resources can our military spouses use to help them qualify for these remote roles? Okay.
And one thing I regret, I would suggest that everybody takes, if you go to academy.intuit.com, and I'm sure you'll provide that information. We have the Intuit Academy, and you can take advantage. We have 2 classes out there. One's called Tax Level 1, and the other is Tax Level 2. And both of those will, the first one's a 30-hour class, free online 30-hour class with a 2-hour exam, and the other is a 20-hour class. And it's right now they're free. They're free courses.
That's amazing. So 50 hours. And what can that do?
What that will do, if you have at least 1 year of experience, that passing that course will help circumvent the 3-year 30 return experience. You combine that with the 1 year of experience. So whether you have experience or not, I highly suggest that everyone takes that course.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. So you guys, I hear a hack alert, right? So your hurdle is that you need 3 or more seasons of tax prep experience, right, to get hired as a tax associate. And your hack is that you actually get to take free online courses to knock out those 3 years, right? You actually can knock it down from 3 years to 1 with those free online courses. You can even get all of those deets about the Intuit Academy by watching episode 144, Intuit Academy is a Vibe, and we're putting that link in the chat now. So, James, how can tax associates work their way up?
Okay, so once you get your foot in the door and you're working as an entry-level tax associate, we have a program to where all new tax associates receive an invitation to participate in the Intuit Enrolled Agent Assistance Program, where we will pay for you to take a class, an online class, enrolled agent class. We'll pay for your testing, we'll pay for your materials, and we'll provide a mentor to you to assist you to help you prepare for the exam. Once you take the exam and pass, because I'm sure if you take the class, you're going to pass the exam. Once you pass it, then we can that qualifies you to move into the tax expert role, which means you have a better a larger bonus and a better or a higher ceiling as far as your wage, the wages that you can make.
That's amazing. So that sounds like another hack, right? So your hurdle that you face, right, in our normal careers and our normal lives as military spouses is wanting to advance your career, but not really having the time or the money. And your hack is that Intuit is actually going to pair you with a mentor and pay for you to get #promoted from a tax associate to a credentialed tax expert. You can actually learn more about that EA program by checking out episode 146, Climb the Career Ladder with Intuit. And we're going to put that, of course, in that chat pod. You can hear about an employee who got the cert by tuning into episode 102, Certs that Empower Employees to be Entrepreneurs as well. Now, thank you so much, James. I really appreciate that. I am going to be bringing Rachel back in. Rachel, you did this, didn't you?
The Intuit Academy, I didn't.
Not the Intuit
Oh,
Academy.
okay.
The EA class, correct?
Yeah, so I did the EA class, but I did it miserably with tears, lots of sweat on my own with no mentors. It was so boring. So I can imagine this would be like being able, I've actually seen a lot of, so, you know, I'm there, right? So I see a lot of those invites going out, and I was there when they did the intro. So my manager was one of the mentors that was bringing through a cadre of tax associates that were trying to advance right into the tax expert role. And it was awesome. I mean, because not only that, but my manager, I think, is the best one there at TurboTax.
No bias.
No bias whatsoever.
No bias.
Truth. And she's so encouraging. And she was just, you know, like, it was just, I mean, gosh, I know you guys have all worked in crappy jobs, right? So bad bosses, so annoying. You hate being at work. Like, I love being there, and she's just so encouraging. So I know that I would have passed so much faster with that kind of, you know, camaraderie and encouragement. And it's just, I don't know, it's just amazing. So you guys have some really great opportunities, and you get to do it way better than, you know, when I had to climb uphill both ways. No, I'm just kidding.
3 feet of snow, no shoes.
Yes.
I actually heard that it's your 3-year anniversary.
It is.
Congratulations on your work anniversary as well.
Thank
That's
you. Thank
so
you, guys.
amazing.
Oh my gosh. I see all the clapping. I feel so good. Yeah, it's amazing. And can I just, I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, but I'm just going to do it and just beg for forgiveness later. But like, if you're really struggling, and I see a lot of people message me, they're doing the Intuit Academy, they're already volunteering at VITA. You know, if you're really struggling with that 1 year, you'll die, you'll hate it, but go ahead and just do, what is it called? Like Jackson Hewitt, H&R Block. Maybe James will actually tell us, or Tessa, which one they actually think is the better one. We're going to retrain you to the perfect way of learning how to do taxes, but at least you knock out that 1 year. And honestly, it'll be worth it. Because I mean, seriously, the stock options. Who gives you stock options as a seasonal employee? I mean, this business, I don't know how they do it, but Intuit, just, they love their employees and they love their customers. And all you do is feel love all day.
That's amazing. All you do is feel love all day. That's like my quote of the day. I'm going to put that in like big bold letters. All you do is feel love all day. Okay, you guys. So we have been talking a lot about tax, right? But you might be asking yourself, what about bookkeeping? Well, Tessa, tell us about your role as a QuickBooks Live recruiter.
Yeah, so as a recruiter, I, phone screen and talk with people all day to see if they qualify for our bookkeeper roles. We are actively interviewing right now. So I would strongly encourage anyone to apply if you feel like it might be the right fit for you. We may not have start dates until closer to December or January, but we are actively interviewing. So if you do qualify, you'll be placed on a wait list for, ready to go as soon as we do have start dates. Usually also when we have start dates, they're rolling start dates. So we'll get one and then we'll have another, a few weeks or a month later. So if that specific date doesn't work for you, there usually is another date not far after that might work better.
And you recently PCS'd, right?
Yes.
What was that like with working with Intuit?
Well, that was actually probably the easiest part of the PCS, as you guys all know. We moved from Houston, Texas over to sunny San Diego. We've been here about 3.5 months, something like that. And work was the easiest part. I mean, I took a few days off for the drive, and then literally just opened my laptop and was ready to go, which I love.
I love it. Just the flip of a laptop and you were able to just get back to it.
That's
wonderful.
Right.
So you've touched on this a little bit with the bookkeeping roles that you are currently recruiting for. Can you tell me a little bit about your hack for interested candidates to get started?
Absolutely. So I think the hack would be so if you don't have prior bookkeeping experience, that's totally okay. We have a course, an 80-hour course through Coursera currently. And so typically you need 3 years of bookkeeping experience to qualify for this role. But that Coursera course, 80 hours, replaces that 3 years of experience necessary. So currently the course is through Coursera, and it's actually going to be on the Intuit, part of the Intuit Academy at some point this year. I don't want to say exactly when because I'm not 100% sure. I think sometime in November. But if you would like to wait until it is part of the Intuit Academy, that's also an option, or will be an option later on in the year.
Awesome. So I know one of the hurdles is that, you might have completed all of your training, you got certified. Does this mean maybe can you check that 3+ years of paid experience managing books for a small business? What do you think?
Yes, thank you. Great question. So if you have completed this course, please answer yes that you have the experience, because that qualifies you for the role. But if you press no that you don't have the 3 years of experience, you may not get contacted by a recruiter, and then it's a little bit harder, to move forward. So if you've taken the course and you've completed the course, or you're almost done with the course, anything when you're applying, please say yes to the experience question and the application process.
Awesome. So you've heard our hack. Our hack for bookkeeping with QuickBooks Live is if you completed the Coursera course, yes, you can check that box. Even though you do not have real world work experience, the course allows you to bypass that requirement. Now, here is a 2-for-1. The hack, an additional hack, is if you accidentally hit no, that you do not have that 3+ years of paid experience managing books for the small businesses, you can still answer yes to the question, have you completed the Intuit Bookkeeping Professional Certification? We actually go into this a little bit in episode 105, experience requirements are #canceled at QuickBooks, and we're going to drop that link down below. We're also going to go ahead and drop that bookkeeping course offered through Coursera as well. I cannot say enough about these amazing and free training resources. The opportunities did not exist until Intuit partnered with VirtForce to get more military spouses #hired. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Tessa, for explaining this for us and going over your #hiring hacks with us today. Another common hurdle that candidates face and that we hear a lot about is that candidates, they complete their trainings, they get certified, but they don't hear back from a recruiter. Now, we have a hack at VirtForce, is that we're here for you. We're here, we're in your corner, and we're ready to support you. If you're not hearing back and you need a little bit of help getting connected, go ahead and email us. You can email us at hire@virtforce.us. We'll drop that again in the chat pod, and we will be able to help you get connected with a recruiter. Now, we are going to go ahead and we are going to open the conversation. We want to hear from you. What questions do you have about getting #hired at Intuit?
Hi, so I'm interested in the bookkeeping, the QuickBooks Live position. And I was wondering a couple of things. I know there's the Bookkeeping Pro certification, and then there's the Pro Advisor certification. Are both of those recommended in order? If you, I don't have any experience. I have a bachelor's in science and biology, so I have no real world bookkeeping experience. But I'm currently taking the Coursera courses. But I was just wondering, should we invest in taking both of those exams?
So in your case, you would need to take the exam for the Coursera course, the ICBP certificate. I get the letters mixed up, but that certificate you do need. And then the QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor certification is also required. That is specifically for just to make sure that you're up to date on any QuickBooks Online it's updated regularly. So it's two separate certifications. And in your case, yes, both would be required. The second one you mentioned, I'm not sure I've ever heard of that.
So I think one is for the basic 8-hour course, and then one is for the 80-hour course.
Right. The 8-hour QuickBooks Pro Advisor certification is also required.
Yeah,
but you don't need it before you apply or anything. You can get it throughout the process. You just need that 8-hour one. For QuickBooks, you just need it before you can be offered a role.
Okay. And then I had one other question regarding PCS. Because you're a recruiter, I'm assuming your job is a little different. If you're an actual bookkeeper, how does that work with PCSing as far as like time off? Did you just take vacation time? Do you just talk to your team members? Do you know how that would work?
Yep, absolutely.
From California to New York. So that was, 9 days of travel. So that's, more than just a couple of days of missed work, because I've been listening to the things, and I do know you have to have a tested connection and be hardwired. So working en route is not an option. So I just didn't know how that works with PCSing.
Sure. Yeah, right. So my role is a little bit different. The really only difference is that you would just go on and update your internet connection when you got to the new station. But as far as taking time off, right, you would just talk to your team members. You'd be part of a team with a manager. So you would just request that time off with them. And then when you get to your new station, you would just update your your internet qualifications to make sure it's still, 5 megabits per second for upload and download, and then you're good to go.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Hey, yes. So I am currently taking the Coursera, and I just have a question about so we're PCSing to Europe, and I didn't know, since I don't know if I can still qualify for working remote, I guess is the question, since I won't be in the 50 states, or how would that work for someone like me?
Unfortunately, you do need to be stateside in order to be a bookkeeper for this role. So I'm sorry, that's rough. When are you leaving?
We are leaving in less than 2 weeks. We were given a month notice, so we are having a lot of fun.
I know. I definitely understand.
Yeah, because that's what I was seeing is off base, that because it's England, I was seeing a bunch of accounting assistant things that I could qualify for, but I just didn't know if any of these certifications would be able to technically kind of give me a little push.
Right. Yeah. You would have to be in the United States for this role. I'm sorry.
Ashley, I would still continue to complete those courses and complete the training and everything, so that upon your return, you can still apply and stay up to date with all of that information. And then when you can get back, you can apply if that is still an option.
Yes.
And
If you'd like to
desire.
drop your email in the chat, we can help connect you to some OCONUS opportunities.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, guys.
No problem.
Hi. So I currently am taking the Coursera right now as well. And I'm almost finished, and then I'll be taking the test. My question is, she said that they're currently recruiting for like December, January timeframe. I was wondering if this is like time sensitive, if I should try to get this done as soon as possible and apply, or if this is a position that you're always hiring for, that can be, that I can kind of, is it a time sensitive situation?
Great question. I mean, I would say if you want to be considered for a December or January start date, or our first start date once they've opened back up, I would say go ahead and, complete it as soon as possible, because the candidates on our wait list will be first come, first serve when we do have a start date. And at this time, we don't know how many seats will be available. We are pretty much hiring year round though, which is what I was kind of saying with like the rolling start dates. Typically, I can't say for sure, but typically when we do get a start date, we'll have another one, a few weeks or a month later. And then, we kind of are always getting approved for the next start date. So we are hiring year round. It kind of depends on how soon you want to be, part of the team.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
My question is also for the bookkeeping role. I was on a Zoom similar to this a few months ago back in May, and I immediately, when I heard about the QuickBooks opportunity, was interested. So I went and I did the whole Coursera course, passed the exam, did my pro advisor. So I applied as soon as I passed all my exams and stuff. I applied through the application link on VirtForce. And then I replied to an email that I'd emailed hire@virtforce.com and had told them that I had sent an application. But it's been about 2 weeks and I haven't heard anything. And part of that might be because I applied before watching this video. So when it asked if I had experience, I said no. But as soon as I clicked on no, another question popped up and it said, do you have the bookkeeping certification? I passed my exam and I hit yes. So I wasn't sure if there was anything that I should be doing that could help me get connected with somebody, or what all I needed to do on my end.
Oh, great question, Carissa. So it could be just that you haven't been assigned to a recruiter yet, because we are kind of in a little bit of a lull, waiting on start dates. But I've written your name down, and I can look into, if it shows on our end or not. Is it possible to connect to where I can get your email somehow? Do we have a way through VirtForce
I
to
can
do
send that? Yeah, I can send
Okay.
that to you. I sent her to the previous recruiter in our interim change.
Wonderful. Okay, so we'll look
Sorry
into
about
that
that.
for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I just finished my bookkeeping certificate. I just need to get through the test. Some of the questions I had was already, I guess, sort of answered, which was part-time, and if the bookkeeping role is seasonal. I guess some of the answers I already got. Now, once for the next hiring season is December, right? So if I apply, let's say I don't get the role, this certified bookkeeping and the tax prep would also be useful to apply with other companies if I don't get anything with Intuit. So it would be also useful because I do have a background in accounting. I worked as accounting as soon as I graduated from college, but I was back in Brazil. I do have a little experience as a bookkeeper, accounts receivable. Haven't done that since 2010 though. But so that's why I'm taking the bookkeeping to sort of, I do have some QuickBooks experience as well. But that's why I'm taking the bookkeeping to kind of refresh my role and see if I can get a chance out there, or with Intuit preferably.
It sounds like you would qualify as a bookkeeper. Your experience does not have to be recent experience. The role is a year-round role, so it is not seasonal. The QuickBooks role. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Or okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, it's Christine again. My actual question was answered by Ashley earlier about the OCONUS positions, and it does have to be stateside, and I understand that. So people at VirtForce, if I post my email in the chat as well, can I connect with someone who may be able to help me? Okay, wonderful. And then my other question, does it applies for the seasonal positions for Intuit. So if you are seasonal and you work really well, are there chances and promotions to become a permanent position full-time?
To answer your question, yes, there are some opportunities. namely year-round, is called select time, and I'm sure Rachel can speak more about that. But those positions, from what I understand, are posted internally and handled by a different set of recruiters. But for the most part, all the TurboTax Live positions are seasonal, primarily from September. We have tax advisors that work from September all the way up through August. Then we have some that work year round, which, as I mentioned, which are called select time. So then as we go into the next year, all tax advisors that worked with us the previous year, you're evaluated by your manager. And if you perform well, you get ranked, so to speak. So when you come back, all we do is call you up. We verify your information, make sure nothing's changed since you offboarded with us. And then you go directly into what we call the offer stage, and you receive the offer for the next year, and you're set for the next tax season. So there are opportunities, not only within the tax positions, but there are other positions within TurboTax Live that you may be interested in that you can look into.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, James.
You're welcome.
Hello. So this is for Tessa for the QuickBooks Live, because they were talked, the TurboTax Live and the QuickBooks were talked together so quickly. So does the 1 year experience apply to both positions, or just to the TurboTax side of it?
Right. With QuickBooks, we require 3 years of bookkeeping experience or the certificate through Coursera.
Okay. And if I'm currently enrolled in it, I can go ahead and submit my application, even though technically the certificate wouldn't be till after I've completed the course.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
If somebody has a resume that's all over the place, is just volunteering enough? I know there was the volunteering for the tax associate, but how can we remain competitive with all that competition that's out there if we don't have all that experience? Is the certificate just enough?
For QuickBooks, the certificate would be enough for the Coursera certificate. I would say in general, just answering sort of for James, any experience at all with taxes or accounting experience, anything, even if it was volunteer, I would definitely put it on your resume.
Okay.
There being gaps in your resume and it being a little bit all over the place is irrelevant. Okay. As long as, you don't have to have a degree. You don't have to have any, for bookkeeping, you do need 3 years of bookkeeping experience. But if you said you're going to start the Coursera course, if you have that certificate, that would replace anything you would need. So all of your background could be in retail, but if you have that certification, you're good to go.
Yeah, we got like real estate and massage therapy. We got all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah.
But,
that says that you're well-rounded.
That's what I was going to say. We like well-rounded candidates.
She's all over that one. Okay, thank you.
And if I can add, I'll just reiterate what Rachel mentioned. You want to stay competitive, you take the course, TurboTax, the TL1, but I'm sure there's an H&R Block or a Jackson Hewitt or Liberty Tax somewhere close. Get that 1 year experience with them if you're really interested.
Okay.
Then combine that with the TurboTax Live TL1 course.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay. Hi everyone. So I do have a question for the Intuit side. For the tax associate position, I'm hearing that now there's a new requirement that you do require like 1 year of paid experience. Is that correct? Like it used to be that the 1 year of experience volunteering was enough, but now it's not. Is that correct?
Yeah, what you're referring to is the tax prep assistant position. Last year, all you need was 1 to 2 years of volunteer experience preparing returns for yourself, family, or friends. That's been changed to 1 to 2 years now of paid experience with at least 30 returns of experience for the tax prep assistant. So the business unit saw fit to increase the requirements for that position, I guess based off past performances.
Okay, so you won't be able to apply without that 1 year of paid tax experience. Sure.
I still encourage you to take the course and apply if you still apply.
Yeah, I have the VITA volunteer experience, but I don't have paid experience.
How many returns did you prepare under VITA?
I did 30.
30?
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, I would submit it, even if it's just to get the experience. But again, I go back to what Rachel said, then to get that experience that you need, if you can find an H&R Block or Liberty Tax, someone to get that year, if they allow you to do it within 1 year. But this is a new change to the tax prep assistant position.
Okay, thank you.
And if I could add also, I know we don't talk about this a lot. There are 6 states that you have to meet the requirement to be a tax preparer for the state that you live in. And those 6 states are California, Connecticut, Maryland, Nevada, New York, and Oregon. All 6 of those states have a certification. So before you can even work with TurboTax Live, you have to be certified through those 6 states if that's where you're going to be living and working.
Okay. So I guess I am located in California, but I'm a Florida resident. So can I still get the certification even though I'm not a resident of that state?
I know in the military you can claim whichever state you want. You're originally from, correct? As your state of resident.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Because I would be working in the state of California, but I'm a Florida resident. So I'm just wondering if they will allow me to get the certification, even though I'm not a resident of California. I want to keep my residency in Florida.
And that's something you may have to check with that particular state.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for all of your questions and all of your interest in the remote careers at Intuit. We want to thank you guys so much for joining us today. It has been an absolute pleasure being your moderator, joining you guys today, and getting to know our wonderful Intuit recruiters and team. Everybody say thank you. Throw some love in the chat. Say thank you. Give them some love, some hearts. They have been wonderful answering our questions, telling us about themselves and how to hack the hiring process so that we can get #hired at Intuit. This concludes our chat today with our Intuit team. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day.
Thank
See you
you.
later. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.